Hey, listen up. Did you know that a single act of kindness could be the hidden key to unlocking your path to enlightenment? I'm not talking about grand gestures or years of silent meditation in a cave. I'm talking about something as simple as sharing a meal, holding a door, or even a warm smile. I'm your old friend, a humble advocate of the Buddhist teachings, and after 7 decades of walking this earth, I've seen how merit, Punna, can transform a heart faster than any sutra recitation. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on why merit isn't just a nice-to-have in Buddhism. It's the very foundation of your spiritual journey. Stick with me and I'll show you how the smallest acts can build the mightiest bridges to awakening. Now, you might be wondering, if Buddhism is all about letting go, why cling to this idea of earning merit? That's a fair question, especially for folks in the West, where I've noticed many of you focus on mindfulness apps and silent retreats over the gritty, everyday work of generosity. I've sat in meditation circles from London to Los Angeles, and I've heard the whispers. Some say merit feels too transactional, almost like a cosmic point system clashing with the whole non-self vibe. But let me challenge you. What if merit isn't about gaining at all, but about rewiring your mind to shed greed and ego? Think about it. Every time you give without expecting, you're chipping away at attachment. I remember a young man in a Seattle Sangha once telling me he felt weird about offering alms, like it was beneath the lofty goal of Nirvana. I chuckled and said, "Son, without a clean heart, how do you expect to see the truth?" Merit isn't a distraction. It's the broom that sweeps your inner house clean. Let's dig deeper. How did the Buddha himself frame this, and why does it feel so foreign to many of you today? I've seen skepticism in your eyes at Dharma talks, and I've read the blogs questioning if merit is just cultural baggage from ancient Asia. But I've also watched lives change when folks embrace it. People who thought they were beyond small acts finding their meditation sharper, their anger softer. Over the next stretch, I'll unpack how merit isn't some dusty relic but a living, breathing practice that can ground your lofty spiritual goals in the messy reality of human life. Let's explore the roots of this misunderstanding and see how a 2,500-year-old teaching can still hit home in your fast-paced, tech-driven world. Let's start at the source. The Buddha didn't just suggest merit. He championed it as the bedrock of the path. In the Pali Canon, he laid out 3 streams of merit: dana, generosity; sila, ethical conduct; and bhavana, mental cultivation through meditation. These aren't random checkboxes. They're a deliberate sequence to transform your mind from selfish to selfless. Dana is where it begins, giving without strings attached. Picture this: a cold morning in a small English town, and you spot a homeless man shivering outside a cafe. You've got an extra $5 in your pocket, and instead of rushing past, you buy him a hot coffee and a pastry. That act isn't just about him. It shifts something in you, a flicker of warmth, a loosening of that tight grip on mine. The Buddha taught that such acts plant seeds of compassion, countering the poison of greed. Research even backs this up. A 2017 study from the University of Zurich found that acts of generosity trigger dopamine release in the brain, reinforcing positive behavior and reducing stress. Now, Sila, the second stream, is about living clean, following the 5 precepts like not harming, not stealing, not lying. It's not just old-school morality, it's about creating a mind free of guilt and chaos. I recall a friend in California, a tech exec named Mark, who admitted to fudging numbers at work. After a retreat, he committed to honesty, even when it cost him a promotion. He told me, "I sleep better now. My mind isn't a war zone during meditation." That's Sila at work, building a stable platform for deeper practice. Finally, Bhavana ties it together. Meditation isn't just sitting cross-legged. It's cultivating wisdom and calm, but only after dana and sila have tamed the wild horse of your mind. The Buddha said in the Anguttara Nikaya that these 3 create a path of happiness: leading to better rebirths and ultimately nirvana. But let's not get lost in metaphysics. Think of merit as a gym for your spirit. Every act of giving, every ethical choice, every focused breath is a rep, building strength for the heavy lifting of insight. I've seen this in my own life, growing up in a tight-knit community where sharing wasn't optional, it was survival. My grandmother, bless her, would give her last potato to a neighbor, and I'd see her face glow, not from pride but from freedom. That's Dana. And in my later years, as I've sat with sanghas across Europe, I've watched newcomers struggle with meditation until they start small, volunteering at a soup kitchen, swearing off gossip, and suddenly their focus sharpens. The data aligns too. A 2020 survey by the Pew Research Center showed 68% of Western Buddhists felt more connected to their practice after engaging in community service, a form of dana. So, merit isn't abstract. It's measurable in your mood, your clarity, your relationships. It's the soil where the lotus of enlightenment grows, and without it, you're just splashing in shallow water. Let's keep peeling this onion. How does something so practical get sidelined, and what happens when you actually live it? Here's a curveball for you. Could ignoring merit be the very reason your practice feels stuck? I've met countless folks at retreats in places like Germany and New York who hit a wall. Their mindfulness apps track hours of sitting, but they're still snappy with their spouse or stingy with their time. It's not a lack of effort, it's a missing piece. Let me tell you about Sarah, a yoga teacher from Bristol I met at a Dharma center. She was all about being present, but admitted she hoarded her resources, time, money, even emotional support. During a group discussion, someone challenged her, "How can you let go in meditation if you can't let go of a tenner for a friend in need?" That hit her hard. She started small, donating to a local shelter, then volunteering. Within months, she told me her meditation felt alive. Less like a chore, more like a conversation with her own heart. That's the twist. Merit isn't separate from letting go. It is letting go in action. The Buddha hammered this in the Dhammapada. Do not underestimate good, thinking it will not affect you. Dripping water can fill a pitcher. Every tiny act of merit, holding your tongue instead of snapping, sharing a sandwich with a coworker, erodes the ego. I've seen this skepticism firsthand in Western sanghas, where merit gets dismissed as cultural or beginner stuff. But consider this. A 2019 study from Harvard showed that prosocial behavior, like giving, reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, making you less reactive, more open to insight. So, when you skip merit, you're not just missing tradition, you're missing a neurological edge in your practice. Let's push this further. How does merit stack up against the ultimate goal of enlightenment, and why did the Buddha insist it's non-negotiable? Now let's hit the heart of it. Merit isn't a side dish, it's the main course on the path to nirvana. The Buddha didn't mince words. In the Ita-Vitaka, he declared that without a foundation of wholesome deeds, the mind can't access the higher states of concentration and wisdom. Why? Because a heart mired in greed, anger, or delusion is like a muddy pond. You can't see the bottom, no matter how long you stare. Merit clears the water. Let's break this down with a story from my own journey. Back in my 50s, I was mentoring a young man in Chicago, a former addict named Jake, who came to Buddhism seeking peace. He sat for hours, but his mind was a storm, guilt from past wrongs, resentment toward others. I told him, forget the cushion for now, go help someone. Reluctantly, he started serving meals at a local shelter. He'd come back telling me about the people he met. A single mom who cried when he gave her an extra blanket, a vet who shared war stories over soup. Each act of dana softened him. He'd describe feeling lighter, like untying knots in his chest. Within a year, his meditation shifted. He could sit without fidgeting, even glimpse moments of calm. That's merit building the runway for takeoff. Logically, it tracks. Generosity counters greed, ethics counter anger, and mental cultivation counters delusion. The three poisons the Buddha warned against. Without tackling these at the root through merit, your practice is like building a house on sand. And don't just take my word for it. Look at the Theravada tradition, where monks still chant blessings for laypeople's merit, recognizing its power to shape karma. A 2021 study by the University of Oxford on Buddhist communities in Sri Lanka found that 87% of practitioners attributed their mental clarity to regular acts of giving and ethical living, not just meditation. I've seen this across continents. Whether it's a baker in Paris donating day-old bread or a student in Dublin tutoring kids for free, merit creates a feedback loop. It purifies intent, which sharpens focus, which deepens insight. Critics in the West might argue it's attachment to good deeds, but that misses the point. The Buddha taught that wholesome attachment, like clinging to virtue, lifts you until you're ready to drop all clinging. I've debated this in sanghas from Amsterdam to Austin, where some insist meditation alone cuts through illusion. But I ask them, how do you meditate with a heart full of grudges or a mind itching for gain? Merit is the prep work. Without it, you're swinging a hammer with no nails. I've lived this truth myself, giving away my late wife's clothes after she passed, not for praise, but to honor her spirit of sharing. Each item I handed over felt like shedding a layer of sorrow, making space for peace. And historically, look at King Ashoka. After his brutal conquests, he turned to merit, building hospitals and stupas, and his empire saw unprecedented harmony. The lesson? Merit isn't just personal, it ripples outward, healing communities. So, if you're chasing enlightenment without this foundation, you're skipping steps. The Buddha's path is a ladder, and merit is the first rung. Ignore it and you're stuck on the ground no matter how high you dream. Alright, let's lighten the mood with a little heartwarming twist. Imagine this chilly morning in a small Irish village. I'm sitting at a cafe, sipping tea, when I see an old lady struggling with her groceries across the street. Her bags are splitting, apples rolling everywhere, and she's muttering under her breath, clearly flustered. I shuffle over, mind you, my knees ain't what they used to be, and start picking up her stuff. She looks at me, half suspicious, half grateful, and says, "Why were you bothering, lad?" I just grin and say, "Gotta keep the good vibes going, don't I?" We chat as I help her home. Turns out she's a widow, hasn't had a proper conversation in weeks. By the time I leave, her eyes are brighter, and I'm feeling like I've just meditated for an hour. My chest is open, my worries quieter. That's merit sneaking up on you, making you feel like a kid who just discovered candy. It's funny, ain't it? You think you're helping someone else, but you're the one getting the gift. I've had moments like this all over, helping a neighbor fix a fence in rural Wales, or just listening to a teenager in Manchester vent about school. Each time it's like a little burst of sunlight in my soul. And I've heard stories from friends too. Like a mate in Glasgow who started leaving anonymous care packages for struggling families during lockdown. He'd laugh and say, "I'm not a saint, I just sleep better knowing someone's eating tonight." That's the magic of Dana. It's not about being a hero, it's about feeling human again. The Buddha knew this. He said even a spoonful of rice given with a pure heart outweighs a mountain of gold hoarded in greed. I've felt that purity in tiny acts, dropping coins in a busker's hat, smiling at a grumpy cashier, and each time, it's like I'm polishing a mirror, seeing myself clearer. So, chuckle with me here. Who'd have thought that lugging an old lady's spuds could be a shortcut to Nirvana? It's these little wins that stack up, turning your heart into a garden where compassion grows wild. And trust me, after all these years, I've learned that a kind deed beats 1,000 mantras for melting away the day's stress. It's raw, it's real, and it's right there waiting for you to try. So, here's the bottom line. Merit isn't just a footnote in Buddhism, it's the heartbeat. Through Dana, Sila, and Bhavana, you're not just doing good, you're reshaping your mind, paving the way for true awakening. I've walked this path for decades, seen it change lives from Birmingham to Boston, and I'm telling you, start small but start now. Share a meal, bite your tongue in a fight, sit with your breath for 5 minutes. Each act builds a bridge to a clearer, kinder you. If my ramblings have struck a chord, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Your support keeps these old bones chatting, and I've got more wisdom to share. And hey, drop a comment below. What's one small act of kindness that shifted something in you recently? Let's swap stories and keep this good energy rolling.